when I first talked to them, I'm like, oh, are they going to want me to sell Thunderbolts and Volaris? Is that really our brand? But when I talked to Antonio and Alberto, the vision for the division is to really be a leader, not just to have those old rides. They're not really part of us anymore. They're who we were. They're great mechanically, but they weren't as fun. And we want to create rides that are really great mechanically, really good for people that own them, but are also a blast to ride and really redefine who we are in the coaster space.
It may be hard to see through the haze of disappointment and resentment regarding the recent extended closure of Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point, but we've actually been witnessing what could turn out to be an epic story in the history of the amusement industry since it was announced that Cedar Point would be partnering with Italian manufacturer Zamperla for the redesign of Top Thrill Dragster. It's the story of a park that has dealt with some trying times during and in the aftermath of a global pandemic. A park who had one of their most popular coasters giving them grief for nearly 20 years with constant closures and maintenance issues culminating in a piece breaking off of the ride and causing life-changing injuries to a guest, something that can never be fixed or taken back, who are looking to redeem that ride and their legacy by fixing it once and for all. And it's the story of a company in the amusement industry known mostly for cheaper, smaller scale rides that invested tens of millions of dollars and countless man-hours rebuilding a roller coaster division that clearly has ambitions to compete among the likes of Bolliger and Maillard, Intamin, and Vekoma on the big stage of international coaster manufacturers. A company for whom perhaps the first shot across the bow of those competitors was the Lightning Train, a ride vehicle which would eliminate welded parts, be much easier to maintain, and strive to be the perfect solution for some of the problems experienced by installations like Top Thrill Dragster. We can go back and forth all day on which company we think should have been hired for this project. And of course, I will freely admit that Zamperla wasn't on my list at all when considering who I would have liked to have seen do this. I'd hoped for a triumphant reunion of Cedar Fair and Intamin, resulting in a partnership that could bring rides like Universal Orlando's Velocicoaster to parks like Cedar Point, Kings Island, and Carowinds. But that's not what happened, so there's little point dwelling on it. What I'd like to do instead today is talk about what Top Thrill 2 could mean for Zamperla's future. But to do that, let's set the stage by talking about who Zamperla is. KI Coaster Guy here, and today we're going to be talking about just what Top Thrill 2 means to amusement manufacturer Zamperla. Zamperla was founded in 1966 by Antonio Zamperla, and while they aren't the first company most coaster enthusiasts think of in the attractions industry, they have hundreds of installations worldwide. Over the years, Zamperla became known primarily for smaller scale flat rides and family coasters. Their portfolio consists of models like the Endeavor, similar to a Huss Enterprise, the Discovery, and coaster models like the Minnie Mouse, Moto Coaster, the Thunderbolt, and the infamous Volare, to name a few. They also run parks of their own. Through their subsidiary Central Amusement International, LLC, in 2010, they opened Luna Park in Brooklyn's Coney Island at the former site of Astroland, a park that stopped operating in 2008 and isn't far from the location of the original Luna Park at Coney Island that closed in 1944. While not particularly loved by coaster enthusiasts, Zamperla's products are offered at a lower price point to their competitors and are easier to install and relocate, making them a no-brainer for smaller scale parks. But in an effort to redefine their image in the late 2010s, Antonio Zamperla Jr., the current CEO of the company, began making large investments in retooling the manufacturer's roller coaster division.
It actually started 5 years ago when we said, we just want to be a better coaster company. And a lot of money was invested in to get the talent together on the team side and also technology to make better coasters.
To aid in this transition, they hired engineers and built facilities with which to fabricate track and supports in order to keep the entire operation in-house, including an engineering partnership with the University of Padua. At the IAAPA Expo in 2021, they revealed new coaster models, including the Family Thrill Launch Coaster and the Double Heart Triple Launch, showing an intention to no longer be known as a kiddie coaster manufacturer. And in 2022, at the very same show, they unveiled the Lightning Train that would be used on Thunderbolt, an Intamin refurb at Playland at the Peony in Vancouver, Canada, as well as another, at the time, unspecified project. During the unveiling of this train, Antonio Zamperla Jr. went into more detail about their efforts over the last few years in building this new roller coaster business unit, claiming that they now boast the largest roller coaster engineering team in the attraction industry.
This Lightning Train and the Lightning LSM coaster project in Playland at the Peony confirmed that the investment made in people and technologies over the past 5 years in our roller coaster business unit are bearing fruits. No other companies have invested in roller coaster like Zamperla. We have the largest roller coaster engineering teams in the attraction industry, and our roller coaster business unit has the in-house capability to design everything from our famous family coaster to record-breaking new concept like the Double Heart.
And in 2003, in a coup few people could have predicted just a couple of years earlier, it was announced that Zamperla had placed the winning bid to reimagine Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. Much has been made of the risk these two companies took in working with each other on this project, particularly towards Cedar Fair, who some see as having bet big on a company that hadn't yet proven it was ready to work on a project of this scale. And indeed, there is nothing in their portfolio quite like Top Thrill 2, going with what many people assume was the lowest bidder, attempting to save money on a complicated project and exposing themselves to the risk that it wouldn't be any more reliable than its predecessor. And I understand where people are coming from when they say this, even if I do find this risk to be an interesting one. In a similar vein, criticism has been lobbed at Zamperla for taking on the project, with some saying they should have known they weren't ready for the challenges a coaster of this magnitude can present. On this, I don't agree at all. Was it a bold move to bid on this project? Sure, but they would have been insane not to take it. I mean, legacies are not built by playing it safe, and at some point, if you want to get to the top, risk is going to be absolutely necessary. Changing an entire company's image is no easy task, but it absolutely can be done. I know a few years ago, people were talking about Vekoma in an entirely different way than they are now. When I was a kid, before the iMac and the iPod, Apple was an entirely different, much less successful thing. They went from the heights of the Apple II to near irrelevance by the mid-1990s, only to bounce back with multiple successful product launches in a row to become one of the biggest companies in the history of the world. If you were even aware of them, what would you have said about Rocky Mountain Construction before they started building crazy Franken coasters, making everyone lose their minds when they opened New Texas Giant in 2011? Now, obviously, there's a big possibility that Zamperla may never reach the same heights as RMC has, but they could.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, and my friends—
This is pod racing.
No, exciting. I was gonna say exciting. In Zamperla's case, Top Thrill 2, and to a lesser extent Thunderbolt, have the potential to launch Zamperla forward into the future over the next decade as a contender versus heavyweights like Intamin and B&M. But it could also launch them backwards, and those high stakes are what make this story so interesting to me. I mean, wouldn't it be kind of cool though? Antonio Zamperla Jr. could be an actual, literal roller coaster tycoon. There's no limit to the possibilities. Did things with Top Thrill 2 look kind of bad for Zamperla the first few weeks of the ride opening? Yeah, it's not that great. There was a miscalculation made somewhere, but this is far from unprecedented. Accelerator was delayed from May 2002 to June 22nd of the same year. Top Thrill Dragster was notoriously unreliable. RMC is considered one of the best coaster builders on the planet, and yet Lightning Rod just now became, fingers crossed, a reliable roller coaster after opening all the way back in June of 2016. You can run the numbers, you can do modeling and testing on a smaller scale, but at a certain point, you just have to see what happens in the real world and adapt. And to their credit, Zamperla seems to understand just exactly how important Top Thrill 2 is to their future. They're still there. They've been there the whole time working to open this coaster. There are people from Zamperla living in Sandusky to make sure Top Thrill 2 doesn't become a failure to launch. They seemingly have people working day and night to solve whatever problems Top Thrill 2 is facing, and I think they deserve some credit at least for their dedication to this project. And let's do keep in mind that this is a launch coaster with a 420-foot tall spike and top hat. This is and has always been a major engineering challenge. There's a reason why you almost never see anyone building a coaster on this scale. If you've been paying attention to the situation with Top Thrill 2 at all, you're likely aware by now that trains are back on the track with new wheel carriers installed, and that though the trains had been disassembled for a while, they were spotted testing after Coaster Mania, a one-day coaster enthusiast event at the park. I don't know where they are in their timeline of having this thing go through its pre-open testing and being inspected, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see an update from Cedar Point regarding this ride any day now. But the story doesn't end with the completed modifications to Top Thrill 2 after its extended closure. The success of this ride will be measured in seasons, not just its first few weeks. But 2024 still very much matters here, and the smoother the rest of Top Thrill 2's year goes, the better. If it starts going down on a regular basis, that's going to be a very bad thing for Zamperla, potentially causing them to be viewed as a riskier bet to parks, delaying their plans. But while the situation is undeniably not the greatest right now, it's absolutely not too late for Zamperla to right the ship and turn Top Thrill 2 into a massive success story. What happens from here on out will have a profound effect on Zamperla either way, and by extension have a ripple effect throughout the industry in terms of what coasters will be built and where. 10 years from now, what will we be saying about Zamperla? Will we still view them with a skeptical eye, or will we be talking about exciting new installations the company is opening? Are we witnessing the birth of a new titan in the roller coaster world, or an Icarus that flew too close to the sun? Make sure you let me know where you think things are headed in the comments section below. Of course, I can't see the future, but I can tell you as someone who's ridden it, there is definitely something there with Top Thrill 2. It's a fantastic ride and a worthy successor to Top Thrill Dragster as a ride experience. If you want to know more about that, I did a review of that coaster, which should be popping up on your screen any second now. Anyway, folks, that all clear means I'm up, and out of here. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.